What's up, YouTube fans? Today we're going to take a look at the X-Transbots Paean, their version of Hoist. I don't know if it says Paean or Paean. But so this figure is actually older, but this is a re-release in the Toon colors. So they've repainted some things. Some of the paint's a little bit different. We're going to take a look at some of that. But here's the vehicle mode, a really nice looking vehicle mode here. It's pretty darn hefty. There's a lot of parts and die-cast in here. So this front hood section is die-cast. You can see it shines. It looks really nice. Back here, all of this, the feet and the leg area is die-cast back there. This door, I believe, is also die-cast. And I think that's it. I think the rest is plastic, but really hefty figure. It feels like pretty substantial when you take it out of the box. You do have a ton of details here. So you've got, it says turbo there, you got the headlights, you got the turn signals there on both here and here. Nice chrome bumper, you got chrome wheels, rubber tires back in the day, back to rubber tires, which is nice. You got rear view mirrors there, are painted silver. Nice stripe done down the side, very clean. You got a keyhole there. You got the door handle painted. Signal marker there on the back. If you pull this down, you can see it's got the warning strip there, and then the tail lights here. I mean, tons of detail all over. You do end up with a little wheel here on the towing hitch, and so that little wheel actually rotates, which is interesting. And that's, it's meant for towing. So if you pull these out to the side, you can actually tow. Now we're going to take a look at another figure. This is a little bit of a sneak preview, but we're going to look at this guy as well. And he can tow this guy, and it stays on pretty well. So that's pretty nice. I like that a lot. We'll look at that Trailbreaker soon. Closing that back up. This does fold up and stay folded up. It's a nice tight joint there. If you want to deploy the little scanner piece, you can, although I think that's kind of silly, but you can do that if you like. These wings sort of peg into place right there using that little dimple there, so you can kind of get it to stay in that spot. Oops. It does roll really nicely. Nice, smooth, and heavy. He does come with an accessory, so the first accessory is this here. By the way, he is packaged in this vehicle mode, so that's why we're starting in vehicle mode. So you can see there's two slots right here on the back, and this is going to fit right into those slots. And it's like that, and it fits in pretty tight. And then these are all these joints are ratcheted, so you can get ratcheted movement there. Sometimes this bottom ratchet is so tight that you end up pulling it off the tabs there. So maybe the best bet is to hold that and then articulate it. But he can hold stuff. He also comes with this, which is the device. And if you're curious, here's the one from Grapple. And they're very different designs. I guess this one is more, goes that way. I don't know. They do fold up and down. This does feel really substantial. It's painted very nicely. It's got that really metallic green paint. These things do fold up and down just like these, but obviously very different design and coloring. Anyway, he can hold this with the crane here. So these are ratcheted. This is not ratcheted this way, but it is ratcheted this way. So you can get those kind of closed down, and then you can get something like that in there, and you can hold that and carry that around. It doesn't rotate, it just goes up and down, but good enough. I like that. If we take this off, you can also attach this piece. So basically, same thing, go ahead and tab that in there. But the problem with these, I don't know, they just didn't think this through, but none of these joints hold, so it just kind of flops around, and then as you try to pose it, it comes apart like this. So really poorly executed accessory here. It just doesn't work at all. It's supposed to have little pincers here, but honestly, it just keeps coming apart. Must be mold degradation or something, but that's intended to be these, you know, flexible arms, but it just doesn't work because of the quality of the manufacturing here. Let's bring in a figure for comparison. So there he is next to the MP10 original and tracks here, and I'm bringing in tracks for a reason, so later we'll take a look in his robot mode, but looks pretty good. You got a pickup truck versus a car here, and then you got the semi truck. So scale wise, it does seem like they hit it pretty well. All right, let's get him into his robot mode. It is a bit of a challenging transformation, but you can do it. Go ahead and fold these mirrors, basically all the way down, out of the way. Okay. Then you can take these and basically you're going to lift up here, and you're going to untab the window piece, so that window piece is going to come up. And on this side, you can get that window piece up. And that's going to free up this top part here. Go ahead and fold that down. We can unpeg this rear piece here, and that should free up that tailgate there. And now you can see this whole top piece is going to end up coming up. So you're going to free it from there and free it from there. Make sure you have these panels folded upwards, and that's going to give you, all this is going to lift up and out of the way. Go ahead and lift these up, and then just leave this here. I know, it looks like a big honking mess, but we'll deal with this a little bit later. Alright, so now we can take care of these legs down here, and these are also a little bit tricky, but you can work with it. So go ahead and pull these panels out, and that's going to free up these feet here, and they're just tabbed in right there on the inside of those. Right, so now we can free up this panel here, and it's just pegged in right there. Same on this side. Free up this panel, and once you've got that all freed up, you should be able to get all of this unpegged here and rotate it forward. Same here, unpeg here, rotate forward, and that's going to give you some space to rotate this down. Once you have that rotated down, then we can take care of all this stuff down here. So go ahead and detach the legs. They're pegged in together. That's going to give you a little bit of room to work here. And we're going to unpeg this from here. It's kind of tight in there, so you really got to give it a little bit of force. I'm a little worried about that joint over time, but so far it's okay. But you do have to get a little of force. While we're here, might as well fold this panel up. You're going to have to angle this a little bit, and then that's going to plug in at the top here. Let's go ahead and do that. Right, now we'll take care of this. So it's an interesting sequence. So open up this panel here, and then that's going to allow you to pull this slider up. So that slider is going to go all the way up. And then you're going to allow this to, come on. This is, so you have to get this slider up, but then the thing folded down. So you kind of have to hold it in place. And as you do that, you'll see there's a tab right there that's going to tab into the top of his shin. So tab that in. Once you get that, then you can close this down, and that little slot goes there and there. Right? Now open up this knee piece, fold that down, and then peg this in on the side. Should go all the way down, and then peg in there. Right, so repeat the same process on this side. Right, now we can take care of the feet. So go ahead and rotate the entire foot down. Fold this panel upwards. And then make sure you've got the toe down. I think we already moved the toes down earlier, but too far. Alright, so now you got the legs and feet done. We'll move on to the rest. Just make sure you have this panel down before you put this panel down, because it does sit against it like that. Alright, now we can take care of the rest of this. You know, we got a little bit of ways to go. Go ahead and free up these arms by pulling these out a little bit, and that's going to let you fold these down this way. Right? Now that you have that, go ahead and you're going to rotate this entire panel outwards. So unpeg from here. Right there is this tab. So you got to get that unpegged. And then rotate the entire arm out. You heard that's on a ratchet. Same with this side, unpeg it and then rotate it out. I might as well take care of this top part here. So we got to get the head through. So the head is right here. You can see there's a panel on the top. That panel is going to flip around. So we're going to pull this head out of here. That's going to rotate all the way around. It has to make it through this gap here. Right through that hinge. And then this way and rotate around. Right? So there's your head. So next we're going to work on this front part here, so we can take this and fold this downwards, and that is just going to sit right here. So you can see how that fits right in there. Right, now we can rotate these arms down. Make sure you hold here, and you just leave these arms down for now, but we'll just leave them out of the way so we can work on this backpack. So backpack, a little bit tricky, but you can do it. So go ahead and fold these panels down. That's just for filler, really. That's all it does. Just fills them out. All right, we're going to take this entire panel and make sure you have this rotated up so you have it pointing upwards like that. And you're going to get this entire panel into his back here. Rotate these panels up until you feel the click. There's a little notch there, so you should feel it hit the notch. Same on this side, hit the notch. You can rotate this up. And then now we can get this whole thing into here and fold. So there's two steps here. First, fold this panel out. The tiny little piece that feels like it's going to break. Be very careful with that. And then same on this side, fold that out. Fold the window in. These are actually going to attach, so you got to kind of get this sequence right. And this is a little bit, this is the part that I feel is probably the most challenging, is the order and the operations of where do things go. So these windows have to make its way on the inside between these green panels and this bar. And so it's tricky because you got to get it exactly in the right position. But that's how you want it. And then on the back here, you want this tab right here to go into that slot right there on his butt. So you got to do all that kind of at the same time. There we go. You'll feel it kind of tab into there. And then once you have that, now we got to take care of these little panels here. So these are going to peg in right there. And it's a tiny, teeny, tiny little panel. Same over here. I'll move this out of the way so you can see. There's a tiny little panel here. Just make sure you get that into there. We'll rotate this up. And it's small, so I'm worried about that over time for sure. That's a tiny little panel. Right, so we'll leave these arms down. You can have these straight, or you can have them internal. I like to have them straight. I just think it makes more sense to have them straight. Oops. And if this has moved, just put this back into position. You should be able to feel the little notch there. All right, now I'm coming to the front. Let's rotate his waist here. If you haven't done that already. And now let's take care of the arms. So the arms are an interesting panel. So you can see how it's loose and it's sticking out. So you're going to press that panel in. Otherwise you won't get past this point here. So press that panel in and then rotate, and you should click in on the bottom like that. So same on this side. Press that panel in, rotate, and it should click in on the bottom. Right now we'll take care of the hands. So go ahead and fold the hands outwards. This panel folds up from here. It's a little bit odd because it's concave instead of finishing his round arm, but that's the way they did it. And then rotate his arm around. His hand should be facing this way. And then do the same thing on this side. Rotate the hand down. Get this panel into here. Rotate to get the elbow on this side. Pull down to expose the elbows. And here we have Paean all transformed up into his robot mode. I did have a little mistake on the transformation. The tire goes on the outside. It won't fit if you have it on the inside. So, you want this chest to be all the way in. But there you go. There is Paean in his robot mode. Let's take a quick 360 and we will put the cartoon up there in the corner. And pretty nice looking. So this is supposed to be the Toon version. They've changed some of the colors, the white, what used to be silver here on the legs and on the feet. And I believe the green is more of a metallic-y green or maybe a lighter green. It might be the same, I'm not even sure. You do have heel spurs back here. All in all, pretty nicely done robot mode. You have that head is a little bit more accurate as well. So in the original, I believe it was silver. Now you've got that maybe gunmetal gray with that metallic blue. And that looks really nice. I think that was a good choice. For the shoulders, I do recommend that you have this joint down one and then this joint up one. So you kind of have it out to the side a little bit. These panels, by the way, are cartoon accurate. So they're not meant to hide away. You actually should be seeing them. Let's go over his accessories. It's got a ton of accessories, and I just want to have time to go through them all. So first is this scanner. You can have that kind of folded however you want. I like to have it just sort of straight up and over his head like that. But you can display it however you like. Next is the gun here. So this blaster has to be replace the hand, and it's not the best mechanism, honestly. So let's just show you. You're gonna want to take his arm and bring it off the mushroom peg, and when you look underneath, you'll see that mushroom peg is a little bit stressed. So I am worried about that over time. There is some stress mark on there. I don't know if it's going to break or come off, but I'm trying to be careful with it now that I know that it's stressed under there. Right? You can close that back up. And there he is with that gun. You do get two of them, so if you wanted to put one on each hand, you could. It's just this pearl white color. It closes up so that if you wanted to transform with this in there, you should be able to. I had a little trouble, so I'm not sure if it really does, but there you go. There's the gun. That looks really nice. I think it's a good color. Got that Toon accuracy on it. I believe it goes this way because if you do this on the bottom, you'll see the gap, the cut there. So I don't think they want you to see the cut. I believe this is the way that you have to have it mounted. So the hand just kind of sits. So the hand does look like the fingers might be painted. And while we're at it, might as well give you the articulation. So the four fingers are on a single pin. The pointer finger does move separately, but it's got the curled finger, so you can't point. And then the thumb is on a ball joint that goes all the way around, and also has a hinge that goes all the way down for transformation. There's the hand. You do get some other weapons here, but I'm going to talk about an issue we have here. So this is like a little double barrel blaster. But what's supposed to happen is you're supposed to open up this panel, put the hand in, and basically fold the hand in as if you're transforming it. and then leave this on the side. And then it's supposed to fit in right here, but there is no peg to plug it in. There's no slot, there's no tab, there's no hole. You know, this is supposed to tab in. I don't know if that was an oversight or what. I've looked all around. I've asked a few people. No one, you know, seems to know. You know, I think it's just a change that they made. And so now you can't use these accessories. That seems like a huge QC error. Not even QC, just design error. Same for this. So this is an adapter for Ratchet's weapon. You can put really any of Ratchet's weapons on here, and you can attach that to his arm. But again, there's no peg for this. It looks like it should have been a round peg hole in the back of his hand. You can also use the alternate head. So here's the alternate head. It's that Toon accurate head. It's basically green instead of the silver. It's got the yellow eyes and then the silver face mask. You do have to push this off a mushroom peg. And again, I'm very worried about these mushroom pegs. And the other problem is this part moves as you move it, but there's the mushroom peg. I don't know if this is worth it, honestly, but I do want to show you what it looks like, so I'm going to try to get on there. There you go. So there is the cartoon head. That looks so weird to me, but not the cartoon head, I'm sorry, the toy head. So if you like that look, you can have that. He also comes with a mask accessory, so here's that mask accessory. And this is from the one scene where Hoist goes to Hollywood, so I guess he's the main character of that episode. But here's his Toon head. You can just slide that on there, and then he's got that mask. I'm not going to do the scene with all the aliens, but he does do that. And just really quickly, I didn't want to waste any time, so I haven't even transformed him all the way, but you can take this mask and put that on tracks, and it does fit. So you can recreate the silly scene from Hoist Goes to Hollywood. Now let's go over his articulation. So the head is on a rotating swivel, so it goes really high up to there, down to there. And then because it's on this panel, you can get it a little bit further up and a little bit further down, but plenty of movement just on its own. And then it rotates on that mushroom peg. You have the shoulders on that inner joint, so you can move it on the inner joint one click. Up and down. I prefer to put it down. I think that's actually how it's meant to be anyway. And then to rotate on this ratchet, you're supposed to hold here and push down. And the whole idea is not to put stress on that inner joint. So you can get it basically rotated up to there. That's as far as it goes. If you get this out of the way, then you can get this further down. But with that in place, there's, you know, obviously the arm hits. It does rotate all the way around, although there's a little bit of hindrance back here. Remember earlier we put these review mirrors to the inside. If you had them to the outside, they would definitely collide. But if you put this all the way up, you can rotate it, although it does collide a little bit. All right, continuing down, you have rotation at the bicep. You have a 90-degree bend at the elbow, although it's a little bit less than 90 degrees, but just about 90 degrees there. And this panel, I mentioned before, you can rotate it back like this if you want a little more room, but I think it looks better, just a solid piece. I showed you the hand. It does rotate on the mushroom peg, and then the fingers articulate as I mentioned earlier. You have a rotation here at the waist. It is hindered by its own hip skirts, but there's nothing you can do about that. The hip skirts are just going to be in the way. But he does rotate a little bit. You can open up these hip skirts, and you do get no ab crunch, by the way, on this guy. You get legs up to there, back to there, and out to the side, all on friction. I really don't like these hip skirts. I don't like the way they work. They kind of collide with each other quite a bit, but they look okay from the front. Continuing down, you have a single jointed knee, gets you 90 degrees. A nice strong knee ratchet there. You get an ankle tilt all the way up to there, extreme tilt, and then a rocker this way, and you get a little bit that much forward, that much back. And you have a heel spur on the back. Oh, you know what? We forgot to rotate these wheels up. The wheels are supposed to rotate up for robot mode. Sorry about that. Forgot to tell you that step. There he is next to the Transform Elements Optimus Prime and the Takara Tomy blue streak, and he looks good next to them. Good size, shorter than Optimus, bigger than a Carbot. Makes sense to me. I think it's a good size. Final thoughts on this guy. I think it's got some good and some negative. So let me start with the positive. So the paint on it is really good. I like the paint a lot. It just looks good in both modes. There's paint kind of everywhere. These orange pieces have some metallic paint. The white is all metallic, flecked paint. The feet and the arms and the chest are all painted. So from this front angle, it's almost everything. The head is painted. The only thing is in the back, this part not all painted, but again, it looks really good. Actually, maybe that is even painted. This orange plastic, I believe, is painted too. So pretty much covered in paint. And that's a nice thing. We don't always get that these days. Maybe Fans Toys is probably one of the only ones doing that. But the downside is the paint isn't all the best quality. So I've got tons of paint flecks on me, especially the white paint. You can see some of the paint. Let me just get in closer. You can see some of the paint has started to come off there, especially right here where the joints are. Same on this side. Whoops. Same on this side. You got some issues with the joints. You've got some chipping here on the feet. So just overall, some of the paint areas aren't great. Luckily, the chest is really well done. It's a die cast. It's got the nice glossy paint and hasn't come off. Same with the sides of the vehicle. The sides of the vehicle look really nice. But other than that, really beautiful paint. The other thing I like, he's got pretty good articulation. The shoulders are a little bit weird with this extra joint that goes up and down, but overall I do like it. It just is it's just an odd way of doing business, so you kind of end up with some weird looking joints, but still, nevertheless, it works, right? It poses, it works, you can use it. So some of the other things I do like is you get a lot of accessories. You get a ton of stuff. This is a pretty nice accessory, but once again, some issues. So this is a very poor accessory. It doesn't really work at all. These accessories don't work at all. They can't attach to his arm, and that's just a design problem. They just didn't design it in. If you're into the Toon colors, then definitely I highly recommend this. I think it's really good looking. Of all the versions of Hoist out there, I think this is probably one of the best looking, at least in my view, because of the paint and because of the colors and because of the accuracy. But you do have a little bit of issues here and there. So that's really it for today. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.